have you ever noticed that sometimes in the Psalms, there's a little thing that's written to let you know what was going on at the time? I mean, I can't imagine actually writing this. This is Psalm 34, and it says at the top, a psalm of David regarding the time he pretended to be insane in front of Abimelech, who sent him away. That's quite an intro. Well, it happens to be one of my favourite psalms that I often turn to. And I think it's because it's a psalm that offers comfort and it offers hope when life is at its hardest. I mean, you might be familiar with that psalm. There's a couple of verses that are often quoted. For example, verses 4 and 5. I prayed to the Lord and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. I mean, that's beautiful. If you think about it, this is God's antidote to shame. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will touch their faces. I don't know what you think about when you hear the word shame, but shame is one of the most powerful emotions that can keep us from receiving the love and the grace of God. I really think it's one of the enemy's greatest weapons. But here, David gives us God's prescription to deal with it. So when you feel shame beginning to creep over you, why don't you be aware of it and just stop and don't let it settle in. Lift your heart and your face toward your Father and let him take that shame away. Let him love you. He took our shame on himself so that we could be free. Well, I think one of the verses that perhaps is even better known is verse 18. I love this verse. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. I love this verse, and I love this promise. I can't tell you how often I've personally found comfort and strength in those words. You know, sometimes if you've walked through a hard situation, like if your heart is broken, you might be tempted to ask, Lord, where are you? Do you see what's happening to me? But here, David makes it crystal clear. If you're in a hard place right now, he is right beside you. God is close. That is the promise. We might be broken. We might feel broken, but we're held close.